What is up, guys, on this crappy Wednesday? Snow outside, cold outside, but it's warm in here because we got a lot of sports news to talk about today, and we even have a special guest on the phone today.
Good, Gibby. Do you want to say hi to everybody?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
We got Gibby join us, stay on the show. He's a big Pirates fan, so we got some Pirates talk coming up. Some big signings happened this day. We got Machado signing a big deal, 10-year, $300 million.
It's Elliott! It's picked off! It's picked off! It's Tracy Porter!
All right, Swede Machado today signed a 10-year, $300 million contract with the Padres. A lot of people have mixed feelings about this. I think that this makes the Padres a contenders within maybe 2 years, so the prospects that they have.
No? I disagree. They actually went from 71 wins in 2017 to only 66 last year, and I don't think one guy is going to change anything as far as wins. I think it's going to put more people in the stands, but as far as them being a contender, no, they got to call up a lot of the new pieces that they have.
I mean, they cut a lot of people. They got rid of Freddie Galvis, and they got Machado now at short, which was huge. I think that the team's fine. I think they just need a lot of pitching. Gibby, what do you think about the Padres getting Machado?
I think it was a good pickup for them. They did need kind of like a superstar. I mean, I know they did have Eric Hosmer, but they needed like a good middle infielder. And I saw a thing today that they had 14 top prospects in the top 125, which I think this will be good for their future, the adding of Machado.
But what do you think, Gib? Last year they won 66 games. What do you think they end up with this year because of one player?
I think they maybe get around 70, maybe a 500 ball club. They still have a tough division, so I think that's going to they're still not going to be the same, better.
See, yeah. That's exactly what I said. I said, they have great prospects right now, and now you get Machado, who's only 26, and you have Hosmer and Will Myers there, and you still have good players there that are young. So I think that they will be contenders within 2 years. That's what I'm going to call that.
Yeah, but I think one of their prospects is the number 2 shortstop in baseball. So what does that mean? Are they going to put Machado at third base where he really doesn't want to play?
Well, they can move that prospect to third base. Gib, do you think with Machado signing to the Padres, do you think that gives them contender chances within the next 2 years, or do you think this is still going to be a long-term thing that's going to happen?
I think they'll definitely be contenders once they get Tatis Jr. up and groom him under Machado. I think in the next coming years that they'll be a really top contender in the NL West with the Dodgers and San Fran.
That is a tough division if you look at that. You think about the Dodgers, San Francisco.
I still think the Dodgers are the team to beat in that division. It's going to be tough. I think it's going to be tough for them. It really is.
Yeah. Well, moving on, Harper has reportedly denied about 5 teams that were offering him $300 million. Phillies have moved to the front runners as far as the team to beat, to pick him up. Gibby, do you think that he should go to the Phillies, or if there's another team anywhere that he should preferably go to?
I couldn't see him in Philly. I don't know why. I feel like they're just not the right place for him. I think he should go to Chicago, like the Cubs, because he'll just be a good addition to the outfield. And I heard he's really good friends with Chris Bryant, so I could see it happening.
Yeah, but in Philadelphia, could you imagine him, and if they get Mike Trout next year, and they have McCutchen now for, I think, the next 3 years?
That would be an insane outfield. I think they would take over the NL East for sure if they could make that happen.
Let me ask you this, Gibby. What do you think about the whole 10-year, $300 million contracts? Do you think it's good for baseball, or do you think it's bad for baseball?
I don't really think it's good for baseball because players can have up years and down years. So, I mean, if you sign him for 10 years, that's a big commitment because you never know where he'll be in 10 years. And with today, with players don't like to stick with teams that long. So, I don't know. It could be trouble down the road for them.
What I said, which I thought I liked, was how the Phillies signed Aaron Nola the other day. I think it was 4 years. What was it, $45 million? That's how I think contracts should look in sports. Instead of seeing these people $100 and $300 million. I know we talk about this a lot, but I thought that was a good contract.
But see, my thing is Machado especially. It seems like he was all about the money. He doesn't care about winning a World Series or being on a winning team. But Harper, I think Harper wants the World Series. I think he's waiting for a team that he can look at all the options and see who's going to be the most competitive team and then go with them.
See, I think that too, but what confused me about that is if you look at Philly, like if he gets on Philly, like that's playoff team right there. Like I truly don't like. There's a lot of rumors that he wants to go to San Francisco, and I don't know if that's because it's closer to his home. But if you go to San Francisco, I'm not too sure that looks better than Philly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Philly. Philly. It would definitely be better for him to go to Philly than the Giants. The Giants just still don't impress me with what they put out on the field every year. But the Phillies could be really good with him too. But I just can't see him being in Philly for some reason.
What has Philly really done to improve their pitching and their bullpen from last year? I mean, that seemed like to be like their Achilles heel last year.
I mean, I agree with that. I think their starting pitching was pretty better. It was definitely better. I mean, they got Arrieta, who performed well, brought a veteran presence into that locker room. But as far as their bullpen goes, Robertson's the only thing they picked up, really. But I think that if Harper does go with the Phillies, that makes that team a home run hitter. You think of all the names on that team. You got Hoskins, you got Franco, Segura, who can hit home runs.
They definitely improved. They
absolutely.
Definitely improved. But I'm just saying, as far as pitching goes,
that's going to be their problem is their bullpen. I think that if they get Harper, I think their bullpen is what they really need to focus on right now.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Lehigh Valley had one of the best pitching rotations in the minors last year.
I think if the Phillies can get like maybe by the trade deadline, if they can get like two key pitchers in the bullpen, they'll be a really big contender in the playoffs. But it's going to be really interesting to see how that division ends up. It's with a lot of good teams, like the Mets and the Braves. It'll be interesting.
I just can't believe Harper didn't take that deal with the Nationals. I mean, I wonder if that was even true, the deal they offered him. Supposedly they offered him well over $300 million. And with that team and that pitching staff, I mean,
yeah, I don't understand.
That is a really good team.
They say that the Nationals are still in the race for Harper, which would be shocking if, and especially in the internet, all of a sudden you saw Harper sign with the Nationals, which I think would be awesome. I think he should go back. That pitching staff is loaded. I mean, there's not a lot of home run hitters on that team is the downside if you think about it.
I just think that is going to be one of the best divisions as far as baseball goes. I mean, with the Nationals, the Phillies, the Braves, I don't think the Mets are going to be anything again, but I think that's a great division.
One thing that I will stick with that I said from the beginning is I think the Phillies should wait on Harper and they should get Mike Trout next year. Maybe go after a pitcher like Dallas Keuchel. But if they say they get Harper, do you think they have enough money to get Trout also next year?
You never know. I mean, they can spend as much money as they want. I mean, do they want to spend that much money? Who knows? But I'm still shocked that Dallas Keuchel's still out there.
There's a huge list of free agents who haven't even been talked to yet. Gib, what do you think as far as all these free agents? A lot of people have come out. Big stars have come out and saying that the free agent market is kind of messed up, how no one's even being talked to. What do you think about that?
I feel like there's just an overflow of players. Like there's a lot of good players, and it's hard for each team to like get the perfect match. So I mean, I think like these superstars, they shouldn't wait around for the best deal. Like they should try and take deals as they come because it's hard to get like the team that you prefer. It's more that you need to have a job at the end of the day. And it's just, I don't know, the free agent market isn't what it used to be, I don't think.
Well, it's funny. It's like all these guys are looking for these crazy contracts. And we've been talking about this for the last couple of podcasts. Like Kimbrel, he wanted $100 million and he's a closer. I mean, that is insane.
Yeah. I think what I saw that was best, and we're going to talk about him later as far as Josh Donaldson, but he came out and he said, I knew I wasn't going to get a long-term contract after 2 big injuries.
Well, he's 33 years old,
yeah, but he said right at the bat, he said, I expected a 1-year prove-it contract, and he said, I took it right away, the first team that offered me one, because like Gibb said, at the end of the day, you need a job, especially if you have family. You need to stop waiting around for this $300 million and just sign the contract that comes to you.
All right, Gib, give us your lowdown on the Pirates. In 2017, you guys had 75 wins. Last year, you guys went up to 88 wins. What do you think about the Pirates this year?
I think they're going to do a little bit worse. Their pitching staff's still really young. They got Chris Archer last year for a whole bunch of prospects, which wasn't probably the best decision. The pitching staff they had was good, but Chris Archer, I don't know if that really adds to it. But I think that they should maybe stick around the 500 level. Maybe not be better, maybe not be worse.
Gib, I'll give you my go around with the Pirates. You definitely don't have the superstars that you used to have as far as Andrew McCutchen, Garrett Cole. Harrison just went to the Tigers for a 1-year deal. As far as your pitching, I will definitely agree with you that they are young and need improvement. I mean, your lowest ERA last year was 3.30 ERA. I mean, that's telling a lot there. I think your team isn't bad. Your team's definitely young, but I definitely would agree that there needs to be a lot of pitching help.
Yeah, the pitch. I mean, Jamison Taillon's a solid ace. I think he'll be pretty good. Trevor Williams had a really good bounce back year last year. Joe Musgrove's still young, a rookie. Well, he was a rookie last year or the year before. And the fifth spot's still really up for grabs. Chad Kuhl could come back, but again, he's one of the shakier pitchers on the team. But
I still like Archer though. I mean, Archer, he was what he was last year, but I think he still has a lot in the tank yet.
Yeah, I could see him getting like maybe 10 wins this year, as long as the Pirates bats stay what they are. I mean, or get better. They could have used a little bit more additions there in the off season, but it is what it is. Pirates ownership is shaky.
Now, Gabe, would you agree with me? I was saying this earlier that the Pirates definitely have never really been that team that went out and spent big money on a free agent. It's usually like a, keep it in our house type of thing, trust the process type of thing. Always tried to build up their prospects.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. They've never really gotten they've never gotten signed the big deals. It's always farm clubs. They always raise good, like Starling Marte was good. Polanco's pretty good, but they never just go out and get that big person that they could need.
Pirates, definitely I can see. I thought maybe, I wouldn't say rebuilding, but I feel like it wouldn't shock me if you heard trade rumors by the end of the trade deadline on Chris Archer. I could see them definitely putting him back up there. Would you agree with that, or would you disagree with that, Gibby?
I could see that. I mean, they're always that team that's always willing to trade anybody. So I mean, I wouldn't count that out. Maybe for some prospects or something.
I'm still fascinated with that pitcher you guys have, that Aaron Sledger. He's like 6'10". The guy's a beast.
Yeah, he's big. I never actually watched him play or anything, but I did hear the name before. But he's supposed to be pretty good.
All right, Vegas just came out the odds of who's going to the World Series. They have the Yankees and Houston as the top two teams with 6-1 odds going there. Gib, who do you think is the team to watch this year as far as World Series from the American and National League?
From the American, I definitely like Boston again. They're really strong, but the Yankees did make some improvements too. So I could see that division will most likely produce who I think is going to go to the World Series. And then on the NL, I really think the Phillies might have the team this year to do it if they can land Harper.
I'm gonna give you my view. I do agree with you definitely. I'm a little disappointed you said Boston over the Yankees. As far as AL goes, not just as far as a contender team, my team definitely I would say to watch this year would be Tampa Bay. If you watch a Tampa Bay before the season ended, they got hot. They have one of the best farm systems in the league right now, and they
picked up Charlie Morton too, so they're pitching.
They're going to be a team to watch, not as far as going to the playoffs, just a team to watch on the rise. But I definitely would. My bet is you're going to see the Braves go almost all the way, if not all the way. The Braves have loaded up. I think that their team was young last year, and they were able, almost like the Yankees. How the Yankees were counted out, but they almost made the World Series. The Braves got to the playoffs with a young team. I think Acuna stays healthy this year. I think Josh Donaldson proves it this year. I just think that that's the team to watch for me.
What about the Reds? I mean, the Reds made pretty many moves.
I mean, I think that the Reds got Yasiel Puig and Matt Kemp, but I just don't think they're ready yet. Gib, you got any thoughts on that one?
Well, I do agree with you with Tampa Bay. When they traded Chris Archer to the Pirates had to give up Shane Baz, which was our number 1 overall draft choice, Austin Meadows, who was McCutchen's replacement, and who was the last one? Oh, Tyler Glasnow, who's a really good, which Pirates never really gave him a shot. So I think that they're going to have a really good future and be a contender this year. And for the Braves, I think, or the Reds, they do need some work yet with maybe pitching staff. They have don't they have a really good pitcher or something coming up too? Yeah. So I think that maybe in the future that they'll be better.
the Reds and Cincinnati and St. Louis, they're always that sneaky team that always like goes on a stretch where they win a lot of games and they're like always knocking on that door to get in.
Well, St. Louis picked up Paul Goldschmidt, so hopefully that will be their answer to get into the playoffs. They still have Dustin Fowler. They still have some good talent there. But back to the Reds, they did draft Hunter Green, who throws over 100 miles an hour, almost like Chapman. They definitely have the pieces there. It's just they need that pitch and help like most teams need. I do think that they improved a lot this offseason, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with them this year. All right, so we talked about him a little bit. Josh Donaldson this offseason signed a 1-year deal, almost a prove-it deal. It was $23 million to the Braves. He's really trying to prove that he can stay healthy this year. He's 33, had 2 straight seasons with an injury. He played only 52 games last year, but he was the MVP in 2015, putting up over 40 home runs and 33 home runs in 2017. But I really do think that I think personally that this is going to be the year that he comes back out as Josh Donaldson, as an elite third baseman. I think that those 2 injuries in the previous years really did kill him. I think it's going to be interesting to watch him. I think the Braves needed a third baseman. I think that was a good cheap pick for them. Gib, what are your thoughts on that, Gib?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this year is going to be Josh Donaldson's year. I think he'll definitely help the Braves make a push for the division title. I think he'll hit a lot of home runs, like you said too. I think this year is going to be his year to come back.
Listen, I think Josh Donaldson. So he had 8 home runs last year, but he was injured really bad. Okay. He's rehabbing his lower body a lot this offseason. He's really trying to get back into the shape. He admits that when you get older, you can't just get right through these injuries the next day. You got to work on them. But he's a Gold Glove winner. Like that's a big pickup, I think, for the Braves. I think he's going to put over 30 home runs up this year. I think he's going to bat back over the 250s. I think that he's going to be a huge improvement for that team.
He's definitely a dangerous bat.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that he's going to be in the top part of the lineup most likely. You can't pitch around him. I mean,
he was an MVP 3 years ago. Last year I remember watching him on opening day. He could barely throw a ball to first base, and everyone right away assumed that this is the end of his career. This is the first time that he's going through a serious injury. I think that how many times have people come back from an injury and went off? Manny Machado, 2 knee injuries year after year, 2 years in a row. I think it's going to be literally a prove-it year for him. I think that if he does well this year enough that the Braves will offer him maybe a 2 or 3 year deal contract.
I'm really excited for this division.
I think it's going to be an awesome division. Even the Mets, I think, can have a chance to not go first place, but a run.
I think the Mets they have that run in them early in the season, but they fade. By May, they always fade.
I think one thing the Mets had that a lot of teams don't is their starting pitchers. They kept their starting pitchers together. They don't have a lot of names that jump out to you on the roster. Robinson Cano is probably their oldest player they have. I don't think the Mets will win at all. I don't think that they'll win that division at all. I think the Braves. It's going to come down to the Braves and Phillies. As long as I think that the Braves can definitely stretch the Phillies to the end if they stay healthy, if their pitching staff stays healthy, if they stay on the right note. But watching that division, I think, is going to be the division to watch next year. Gib, do you have anything to say on that?
I think this year is going to be really interesting with each division. But I think the Braves are really going to push the Phillies for the division title. But it's going to be interesting. You never know. Never know what's going to happen.
All right, Gibby. Well, we thank you for being our first special guest on Everything Goes. We enjoyed having your input, and definitely would love to have you back on.
Yep. Thank you, guys. It was a blast.
Thanks, Gib. Thanks for coming on with us.
Yep.
We'll see you. No problem. We'll see you, Gib.
Yep. See you later.
All right, moving on from baseball today, the latest rumors in the NFL. Russell Wilson possibly going to the New York Giants. That was a crazy headline that I read today. Your thoughts?
I just don't know what's going on as far as that. They're talking about so many different things. Talking about the Giants taking a quarterback in the draft. I think if Russell Wilson went there, that'd be a great move for them. I think that would make them probably top contenders for the East.
Listen, do I think this is going to happen? Probably not. Do I think it'd be an amazing thing for the Giants? Absolutely. His wife, Sierra, is huge in the entertainment, and she personally wants him to move to New York. She straight up said the Giants need a quarterback. I mean, you think about Russell Wilson having Saquon Barkley, Odell Beckham, and Sterling Shepard. The only receiver that Russell Wilson's ever had was Doug Baldwin. You know, you throw an Odell Beckham in there. I mean, that's huge. He scrambles, too. You got Saquon Barkley. I mean, he's a free agent after this coming season, and if they franchise tag him, that's $31 million in the hole, so they don't think that they're going to do that. I don't know if I see this happening. I think the Giants draft a quarterback this draft, and I think that's their next option.
Oh, I think they're definitely going to take a quarterback, but they already came out and said they're not looking at Kyler Murray. They're saying he's too small.
Which is stupid. I think when they say a quarterback's too small, I mean, you got to look at Drew Brees and show how he proved. Russell Wilson's too small. Drew Brees was too small, but yet they're both great quarterbacks.
A bunch of small quarterbacks, but what are you going to do? I mean, I think if you're a good quarterback, doesn't matter what size you are. I think you'll make good plays and you'll be a good quarterback. I don't know which way the Giants are going to go here. I still think that they're going to stick with Eli Manning for at least next year and then draft a quarterback, but you never know. I mean, there's a lot of things that are happening right now that just has me scratching my head.
Now I see Earl Thomas leaving this year, but like Russell Wilson, I mean, you have almost a brand new team last year.
But I think Earl Thomas is a free agent. I think because he moved, they just
but I'm saying I see him moving on. I don't see him coming back.
They're talking about him going to Dallas, which I'm truly against because. From what they're saying is he's gonna want a $11 million contract, and I think that's just too much for a guy that's that old, and coming off an injury like that, even though it's just a broken leg, and it's just I don't know. I think that's a lot of money, and I think the Cowboys have other problems that they're gonna have with their cap and their deal that they have to get done with DeMarcus Lawrence.
Now I'll disagree with you that I think that would be a huge improvement for Dallas. I definitely don't think Dallas will probably be able to do it because they have a lot of people dealing with contracts right now. When Earl Thomas is healthy, he's one of the best safeties out there, hands down. Even last year when he was playing before he got injured, he was putting up great stats.
I don't disagree with that, but I'm saying that we have Kayvon Frazier. We have a bunch of guys here that can play. They're just younger, but I don't see spending that much money on one guy. I'd rather keep the guys we have. I mean, we ranked in the top 10 in defense. And I just think all the pieces are there now. If you don't like Jeff Heath, then maybe do something there, but get something in the draft. I just think dropping $11 million, even if it's just for 1 year, I just think it's not worth it.
Yeah. I don't see Russell Wilson leaving Seattle. I mean, you had a brand new team last year, and he took them to the playoffs. A young team, a young defense. Like the Legion of Boom was officially gone, and that defense was playing well. You got the Griffin twins who were great. I don't see Wilson. Unless his wife persuades him somehow, because
what is his contract situation in Seattle right now?
Right now, he is a free agent after next season. I think he's owed like $17 million, something like that.
So the Giants would have to trade for him, which I don't see them doing that.
You know, but picture this though: the Giants, have Eli as the starter this year. Say they don't draft the QB first round. Eli struggles. Do you trade everything you have to get Russell Wilson? That's if Seattle's even willing to trade him. That's something that could happen. All I'm saying is that, if you think about it, Russell Wilson going to the Giants,
that would be scary. That would be a great team.
It fits, though. It makes sense. Will it happen? Who knows?
I mean, if they did that, then defensively, they would just have to focus on that side of it for the draft. I mean, they still have some good pieces there, but
number one, they have to re-sign Collins. Collins was absolutely amazing. It's just they need to stop. They need to not tag him and just give him a contract. But all right, so Antonio Brown ended up meeting with the president for Pittsburgh's. Everything went well accordingly.
Yeah, they both agreed that it was time to move on.
It was time to move on. I'm personally, I'm glad that it ended on good terms. It was probably an awkward meeting at first, but. I don't know why he wants out.
Antonio Brown always had respect for the Rooney family.
Yeah.
He is never disrespectful to them. Everything that happened in that locker room. It wasn't about money or anything like that. It's just something stupid that happened, and then it blew up, and then now he's on the way out.
Yeah, now he wants out. Le'Veon Bell is officially not being tagged. They're going to let him be a free agent. That's going to be interesting to see. I think whatever team gets him, they're getting a great weapon.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see teams like the Colts looking in at him, the Texans looking in at him, teams like that.
I think the Texans would be a huge fit. I mean, who do they have at running back?
Miller.
And he hasn't really been performing well.
He's not bad, but that'd be a step up to having Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell would be huge wherever he goes. I've heard multiple times that the Colts are looking at him. That'd be interesting, too, because they got Mack. They could use Mack as a second down back. I'm interested to see what happens with the Dolphins as far as Tannehill goes.
Yeah, they're talking about them drafting a quarterback, too.
Do they still have Osweiler as a backup?
They have Murray. They actually have Murray projected to go to the Dolphins.
Do they still have Osweiler as the backup there? I believe so, but I think they just need to rebuild there. I mean, you have Tannehill who can't stay away from the injury bug. I mean, when he is starting, I mean, he's not bad.
He's not a bad quarterback at all.
No, not at all. It's just he can't stay healthy.
And they've never had all the pieces there that they needed.
They traded a lot away last year. I mean, Frank Gore was your running back.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of quarterback decisions this year. I mean, they're saying Blake Bortles might be a June 1st cut. So that could open up the Jaguars for Nick Foles.
I always have mixed feelings on Blake Bortles. There's just sometimes I root for him, and he plays well sometimes. Can you still pull the "he's young" card?
No. He's 27 years old.
It's just
they gave him an extension last year.
Maybe a new team will be better for him. Maybe just being a backup for a little bit. I think that they're gonna have a new quarterback next year. If not, they're gonna start Bortles, and if he ain't winning, they're pulling him.
It's gonna be interesting because the contracts, all that negotiation should be going on pretty soon. The franchise tag that happens. That actually happened yesterday. They can put tags on players. March 5th is the deadline where they actually have to put a tag on a player. I know the Cowboys are in a situation again with DeMarcus Lawrence, whether they want to tag him or not. Right now they're not, but they said they will if they have to, so he doesn't hit the free agent market.
I think that's your best option. You tag him, and then you worry about some other people you have for now.
I just think that they're right now they have to focus on getting him signed, and I think it's going to take anywhere from $20 to $22 million a year to get it done. But I think he's worth it, and it's in the Cowboys' hands right now.
Yeah, I saw reports also that they are going to tag Clowney because Clowney is going to be a free agent. I saw that Texans are unsure about giving him a contract extension, though.
I think if they do tag him, I think he's going to get $22 million.
He's a great defensive player. I think that's what the
market is this year.
I mean, he's been injured a few times, but I would take him on my team in a heartbeat. All right, so moving on from franchise tags, Colin Kaepernick has been in the talk about possibly being signed by the Carolina Panthers. I saw that the other day because, obviously Cam Newton just had the arm surgery. That's a huge debate to go into because a lot of people don't think Colin Kaepernick deserves to be in the NFL.
I think he's a good quarterback. I really do. I just think all this stuff that blew up and now him settling with the NFL, I think it's bad for football, for one, and I think it I don't want to say it hurt him. I mean, it took a couple years of his playing career away, but I just think that he's a good quarterback. And who knows with Cam Newton and his injury and his surgery, having someone like Colin as a backup might be a good fit. Would he want to be a backup, though? I don't know.
I'll say this. This show's Everything Goes, so we talk about everything. If you think that Colin Kaepernick doesn't deserve to be an NFL player, I mean, there's players out there that are just – they don't even deserve – I mean, Brandon Weeden. I mean, are you kidding me? You tell me Colin Kaepernick could be better than that? Now, obviously Colin Kaepernick had these problems. He nobody liked when he was kneeing during the anthem. I mean, just take all that away, okay? He is better than almost 90% of the backup quarterbacks in this league. He definitely deserves to play. They said he might go to Seattle. He might go to Carolina. I think he deserves a shot. I mean, when
he could be a starter in a lot of teams.
He's better than some starters in this league. He's better than Joe Flacco. He's better than Case Keenum. He's better than half these guys.
In Tampa Bay. He could be a starter in a lot of these teams. I mean, look at the 49ers. They actually lost the quarterback and they went to their backup. They could have actually used them there. I just think it's a bad deal that would happen. But I mean, everyone has their views on this whole situation, and
yeah. I mean, when you look at Colin Kaepernick, you can't help but look at an elite threat. I mean, he can run on you. He can throw. He's got a cannon of an arm. He's got speed.
Everyone's going to look at him as the guy that started the whole kneeling thing during the national anthem. They're not going to look at his overall stats and what he's accomplished. He went to the Super Bowl. He took the 49ers from being nothing to something. It just
They said the Patriots could sign him, which makes sense. I mean, you don't know how long Tom Brady has. If he gets injured, I mean, your backup is Brian Hoyer. You know, if Tom Brady gets injured, your backup's Brian Hoyer. Okay, Colin Kaepernick can play for you.
Well, according to Tom Brady, he's playing until he's 45.
I mean, by the end of the day, you got to think. I mean, Eric Reed got signed, so it's only a matter of time before Colin Kaepernick gets signed. It's going to happen. The AAF doesn't have enough money to pay him, so he wants $20 million right off the bat, and like nobody in that league gets that much money. And so he's gonna sign. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna call it. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be soon.
I think now it's going to happen now because, like I said, he's settled with the NFL, the lawsuit. And I think now it opens up the door for him to get signed. I think while he was suing the NFL, I think it would have been a little weird because the NFL, the owners make up the NFL. So if somebody would have signed him, it would have been like, okay, he's suing the NFL, but why would you have signed him? So it would have been odd.
I mean, you hate or love him. At the end of the day, he's got the talent to be in the NFL. I mean, there's quarterbacks in this league that don't even deserve to be in the NFL. So we said in the last podcast that we were going to talk about the AAF. It is the Alliance of American Football with two conferences. You got the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. We're currently going into week 3 of the season, and so far it has been a success, besides running a little low on money. But so far, everything looks to be going well. The rules, I love the rules. When I watch these games, it's almost like a college atmosphere, and I love it because you have these stars who are fighting for a chance to get back into the NFL, and which is awesome. It's like a minor league team, which I think that the NFL needs because there's so many people that you look at all the football teams. There's how many people are on the bench? Probably over 40 of the players on the team. You know what I mean? I mean, this league gives people a chance and local talent a chance to show the NFL that they deserve to be in the NFL.
I think it's going to be successful. I think because it's new, people are kind of leery about it. But I think all the signs point up. I like the whole rule package. You score a touchdown, you got to go for 2. The only time you can kick. The only time you use your kicker is if you go for a field goal. I love the overtime setup. You start on the 10. You have to score a touchdown, no field goals, and you must go for 2.
I really like their overtime. I like the fact that both teams get a chance and that it's just not a field goal wins the game.
I like the fact that we're actually doing our podcast in the dark. We just lost power because of this winter storm.
It took us a couple minutes to figure out everything, get the computer back on because the power just kind of went out.
Interesting. People do podcasts all over, but we're going to do one in the dark tonight.
We got flashlights right now to read our notes.
I really like the rule package for some of these things. There's no kickoffs and stuff like that. And I know the NFL is trying to get away from kickoffs because they're saying that's the most violent part of the game.
There's no television timeouts. There's no commercials, which is how many times do you watch a game and before even the quarterback touches the ball, there's kickoff, timeout.
And the thing that I like the most is there's an extra official that's up in the broadcast booth in that area that can actually overrule a penalty, or they can call a penalty if they see something from up there. And I love the fact, too, like when they go to a review, you actually get to hear what they're talking about during the review period. It's pretty cool.
It's awesome. My team I picked is the San Antonio Commanders just because I got family in Texas, but, they're 1-1. Yeah, you got Christian Ackberg. He doesn't have a passing touchdown yet at all within 2 games. They're going to stick with him for another game and see how it plays out, but the coach said that he is not hesitant to pull him and put another guy in. But you got good stars like Trent Richardson, who has 3 rushing touchdowns already, who is lighting it up in the AAF and is hoping for a chance in the NFL. He's 28 years old, so, being realistic, I don't think I see that happening. I think the AAF is going to be somewhere that he needs to shine and just kind of like live out the rest of his career. At age 28, he was the former number 3 overall pick by the Browns. He definitely is doing good for, being the bust of the NFL. He's doing great in the AFF.
Well, I think it's like you just said, it's a good opportunity for players. Because there are going to be players that go into this league and they do either get draft. I don't know if they can go into a draft again or they can get picked up on a free agent wire. But I think it's great for them. And it gives them an opportunity instead of going to the Canadian League or something like that.
And that opens it up for people in the Canadian League that live, in the States and want to come back. They have another team that they can play for.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see someone like a Johnny Manziel.
I love it. I would love
step into that league and get his foot back into the NFL. That's another quarterback that could come down here and then take one of the open spots on one of the teams down here.
One thing that I like definitely is like if a team wants to go for an onside kick, there is no onside kick. You have a 4th and 12, and you have to get a first down, and you get the ball back, which I thought is pretty cool. Because, onside kicks nowadays, with all the rules they changed and everything, you never see people actually get them. So that was pretty cool for me. I definitely agree with the rules.
I think it's some of the rules that the NFL should adopt. There's a lot of rules that really aggravate me that they don't have for such a big league that they are. I think in the fourth quarter, with under a minute to go, every time the team gets a first down, I think they should stop the clock until they spot the ball.
I hate in the overtime in the NFL that if the team scores, you don't even get a chance. That's stupid. It makes no sense.
I just think if you throw a 40-yard pass down the field and there's 20 seconds left, I think the clock should stop until they spot the ball because these officials are old. And
you have guys that lay on top of other guys.
I think they should adopt that rule. And another rule, I think you should have to get in the end zone. Get away from this whole just getting the ball across the line. I think you should have to get into the end zone like they used to do in the old days. I don't like the whole factor a quarterback can jump over, just put the ball in there, and it's a touchdown. You had situations where the ball can get knocked out, and you're on top of the pile, and it can be a fumble. I just think that's a bad rule. I think they should get rid of that and make it more interesting. Let them get in the end zone.
And I like how the one quarterback for the San Diego Fleet, I forget what his name is, but he got drilled and his helmet went flying and you didn't see a flag. And, not saying that football should be safe, but, it's football. At the end of the day, people want to see people make big plays. It's just nowadays if your fingers just touch a quarterback in the NFL, it's a flag. And it's kind of crappy to watch.
Well, the thing people fail to realize is football back in the 80s and 90s, it was awesome. You could hit people and do all the things you can do. But with all those lawsuits and people suing the NFL over the concussions and everything, they go on this way with it. I think that the NFL should be like, look, you're going to play a violent sport. You're going to sign a waiver. And at the end of the day, you're responsible for what happens to you. If you feel like you're getting too many concussions, you could retire at any time. But I think that the way they're changing the game, it's definitely an offensive league now. You can't touch the quarterback. You can't touch receivers. I just think that the rules are ruining the game.
At the end of the day, I'm officially a fan of this new league. I think it's a mix of college and NFL, and I love it. I love the atmosphere of it. They've had great turn-ups so far. The crowds have been great. I think that this is an amazing chance for so many young stars, even if they don't get drafted. I'm a big fan of this, and I'm excited to see how far this goes if they expand the number of teams. There's not really a lot of teams in the East, but I'm excited. I'm excited to watch this. I'm a big fan now.
And it's football that's going on now in the off season of the NFL, so it keeps football going for people. And then they have the XFL coming out, which I think is going to be balls to the wall. I think there's going to be hardly any rules like it used to be, and it's going to be insane.
Thing. I don't think that's going to be successful like the AAF. I don't think it's going to be more of a hit hard and just
It's going to be more of entertainment, but that's what people like. People love the hits. People love to see things like that. And you know what? Another rule I think they should change. I hate when a receiver jumps up and begs for a flag. I think if there's no call there, if anything, call the penalty on the offensive guy. Like they do in other sports, If you're begging and getting in an official's face instead of calling a technical like in basketball, call a 10-yard penalty on them on sportsmanlike conduct. A lot of these guys jump up, they beg for a flag, and then they get one, and I hate that.
I think that with the AAF having different rules in the NFL, if it's successful, maybe the NFL will start to change things, which it would be awesome. First of all, the uniforms are sick looking in AAF. I love it. I'm a huge fan, and I hope the NFL changes after watching this. It's gonna be fun. So that's gonna conclude the podcast that we have today. We're currently closing in the dark with flashlights up to our notes. It's been a good one today. We had a special guest with Gibby, our first special guest. If you follow our Facebook page, which is Everything Goes T&K, we would love to have you on as a guest, definitely. So let us know. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is in the link on our Facebook page at Everything Goes.
One last note. Sixers star Joel Embiid is going to be out for a week. Could this start the doomsday effect for the Sixers with no one like in there to back up Embiid? We'll see.
We'll start our end of the season. Let's lose a lot of games. I'm just kidding. I hope they win. But that's going to conclude it for today's episode, guys. Hope you have a good one, and we will see you next time with Everything Goes.
God bless.